2, 3.
Hey.
Hello, everybody. Guess what day it is?
Yes.
It is live trial dual stream day with
Sal.
It is live trial dual stream day with Sal and Excited Hundreds, and not Jamie yet, or not sure if we'll see Jamie because it's her last day, and it's Pursehouse Day. We're back in California.
Yep. Very
Finally.
exciting. Although today's been this morning was a little. Yeah, please actually, go hang out in EU's stream. I have the watch hours, so.
Yeah.
I just set it up for completeness. But
hang wherever you want, but it's cool. Yeah, I definitely need watch hours.
Yeah.
I need all the watch hours and all the stubs.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'm pretty sure everyone is stubbed to both of us at the moment who's here currently, but you know. I think Farrell that Sal might have sent you a link.
Yeah, I did.
Hey
Christine. Jackpot.
Hey Christine, hey everyone.
Lexi.
And yep. Oh, it's Lexi, yep. That's awesome. Oh, Lefty's here. Sorry, Lefty. I think that Sal thought you were transitioning then into Lexi, but you're not. Seaswept is here. Yes. Hey, welcome back from Real Life Server. That's awesome. So good to see you. HT, MimZ. Cool. You don't know anything about this trial, Farrell? That's because it's been gone for like a week.
I know. This is the Price is Right trial, where the woman who used to be Drew Carey's fiance was unalived by her stalker that she broke up with 8 years before. And
it's so juicy. It's been really juicy. Yeah. Not sure how juicy it is today.
You know, trans and porn stars and adult conventions. It's very fun.
This is the one where David thought that the one of the witnesses was kind of hot.
The porn star, yeah.
Yeah, and then the Shizzy came on stream and broke that theory. and
then I unfortunately confirmed it.
Yeah, it turned out that wasn't a lady at all. Well,
nope.
Not.
No, it had the twig and berries.
It had twig and berries, the whole thing. Yeah, that one. Yes, that's correct, girl. That one. Yep. Lefty, let's everyone be nice. Everyone be nice. We're not going to be timing people out over sports. Come on now.
Insult the Diamondbacks. So yeah,
alrighty.
I guess I'll go ahead and start.
Fun and games. Let's go.
Oh, poor guy.
He thought that this trial was going to be a mistrial because he for sure thought that this was going to be all put off for so long that witnesses weren't going to be available and that everything was just going to go away.
Well, she and Drew Carey and her started texting. They were going to meet up 2 days before this happened. I don't know yet if Drew Carey is going to testify or not.
It does have a little bit to do with Drew Carey.
Yeah.
He has had
I don't have my
one or two interviews about this, and she reached out to him.
Yeah.
2 days before the murder, and so he very well be a witness.
Oh, that'd be epic. Come on down.
Yeah. We do go a little bit crazy though with the whole, Price is Right kind of graphics.
Oh, look, he's studying the invasion of Normandy.
Witness stand, raise your right hand.
And the judge looks like a Sarah Austrian painter.
The testimony you're about to give and the cause now pending before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat.
Yeah, maybe zero to do with the game show. Kind of, maybe.
This statement spelled both your first and last name.
I swear, he snuck into Brazil or Argentina and had a family.
Thank you. What do you do for a living? I'm a firefighter paramedic with the
And
Los
that-
Angeles Fire Department.
Grandson
And
ended
was
up
that your
being a judge in
assignment back
California.
on February
Wow.
15th of 2020?
Yes.
What are your duties as a paramedic?
We respond to EMS emergencies to treat citizens and travelers.
I didn't realize it was
in LA.
about sex until we
We
And
started.
didn't
what's your background
really
training
realize
experience that
could
qualifies you to
change
be a
it.
paramedic?
I have a license. I'm certified as an EMT and licensed through the state and nation as a paramedic, as an EMT paramedic.
Now, on February 15th of 2020 at around 1:54
Look at
in the
him. I
morning,
bet he's
were you
like
at the
an
location of
actor on the side.
2086 Mound Street in the city and
Probably
county of Los
played in
Angeles?
Rescue Me.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
Now, why were you there on that date and time?
We were called to respond to a fall.
Now, when you received that call, did you immediately report to the scene?
Yes, we did. We were
No, we made a
upgraded by
couple
an
pit
engine,
stops,
but
had to
were
get some
told we had
gas.
it was up in the Hollywood Hills, so we
Yeah,
had
it was
to
our
back
lunch
ambulance
break.
in, so there was a little bit of delay getting to the scene. But yes, we went from the station to the scene.
And what do you mean by you were upgraded from an engine? What does that mean?
So the initial dispatch was an engine only, and I was on the ambulance that day. So an engine arrives there first on scene, and they make an assessment of what they need, whether it's an EMT ambulance or a
That must be
paramedic
it.
ambulance. They felt the need for paramedics to arrive on scene, and so they radioed our dispatch to add one, and that was us
And did you report to this scene alone or with somebody else?
with a partner,
And who was your partner at the time?
Austin Smith.
Now, can you describe what you observed when you arrived on scene?
Let's say cancel this.
Sure.
Nice. Milky white dick cock. Dick cock.
Now, is this your cock hardener?
Dick cock.
Dick hardener?
Have you got a dick sucker for that?
Your neighbors come over, help you with your dick?
Yeah, to just show your neighbor's dick.
It's a very impressive dick.
Transport somebody by ambulance.
They're all jealous.
And when you
Jealous of your
transport
dick.
that person by
Yeah.
ambulance, where did you transport that person to?
To reconfirm, I need to check my report, but I'm pretty sure Cedar Sinai Medical Center.
Okay.
Page.
And when you,
You want to check your report? Just in case.
Can it be thrown up in front of me, just so I don't say something on it?
I mean, it's
It's Cedar
Even
Sinai,
like the
but
All right.
if we're going to
Witnesses' microphones are from
Um,
1940.
now,
All right.
was your
What is with this
observation?
The
courtroom?
judge even has a
at the
red
time
watch as well.
You
I know.
transported her.
Lindstrom.
Was she critical?
Yes.
Now, did you conduct an assessment of that person while in the ambulance?
Yes.
Now, you said there was somebody else with you. What was your partner doing at the time?
Stripping.
Exactly. So both of us would have been working on the patient if she was a critical patient.
And the reason why both of you were working on her is because she was critical.
Yes.
Now, can you talk about the assessment or your assessment of her condition while in the ambulance during transport?
Critical. But
The
you
mighty,
need to be more
powerful
specific.
MLS.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's
Are you
true.
able to differentiate?
Well,
critical and something else?
Unless you're Mark
Sure.
Jensen.
So it was a fall victim. So we would do what's called a
Hey,
trauma
Nick.
assessment. So I mean, we're going to do a head to toe assessment to see
Hope you're feeling better
any
now.
breaks, bleeding. The big things are to take care of the ABCs: airway, breathing, and circulation. If she's not breathing, then we're going to check what's broken, what's injured, and go for a full head to toe to give the a report to the hospital.
If she's not
to kind of
breathing, you're
transfer
going to
care and
go
what we
for a
can
full
treat
head to
the
toe.
if that.
Would you say your assessment in the back of an ambulance is more thorough than that of an assessment that would be done at an actual crime scene?
Objection, Your Honor, cause of speculation.
Do you know how to answer that? Can you answer that? Or would you
So
be-
we are going to assess and reassess. So when we find somebody on scene, we're going to get an initial assessment. But always once we get them back in the back of the ambulance, we're going to give a reassessment to see if we missed anything, if it's dark, if we didn't roll the patient, if they woke up, if something changed.
Did she wake up at any point?
No.
Was she unconscious the entirety of the transport from the location to Cedar Sinai?
Yes.
And based on your head to toe assessment, were there any injuries that you observed on the decedent? I'm sorry, not the decedent, the victim?
Yes. Can I refer to my report to list them?
Well, I think that they've already been described.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
And so based on her injuries, did
I
you
think-
observe that
Why
she
does this witness
had
keep smiling so much?
broken bones, for instance?
Objection, Your Honor. You don't
Look at
He
you.
was excited to meet Drew Carey's ex-fiance.
I think he just is excited to be on camera.
I'm not sure that it is. I'll find out.
Look at the judge's watch.
Are you able to tell whether someone's bone is broken, a particular bone or what have you, just by feeling the body or what have you?
We can suspect broken bones.
Look
There's
at
nothing
you.
popping out of the skin, but yes, we're looking for crepitus, which is grinding.
Has he
or
got a
popping.
tan just for
We're
today?
on bones to see if they're gonna rebound or crunch or squish, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word.
All right.
And did you,
She
I
had,
guess,
she had,
scrunch
sev-
on bones? I guess.
she had several regions of her body that were unstable, so that should not have been as. I mean,
Did you poke them and
squishy
see?
when they should not have been.
Is that a legal term? Squishy?
Right.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, they were unstable when they should have been stable. Would be the best.
And was this could you name a region of the body in which she was squishy, as you would call it?
Squishy.
She fell from a third-story window.
Once again, with the court, her pelvis and her ribcage were unstable.
They were
Gotcha.
squishy.
Now, you said you assessed her for her airways.
died.
I believe you said
Hey,
breath or
Leslie.
something else.
Airway breathing and circulation. Yes.
At any point, did her airways change, the condition of her airways, from the moment you picked her up to the moment you dropped her off?
So upon our arrival on scene, the engine was already breathing for her. So we were assisting respirations
Hey,
with a
Pixie,
bag
I
valve
don't
mask.
think so.
We continued to assist her respirations the entire time.
Now, is there any other injuries that you were able to
Look at him. Look at the smile.
to be?
Again, I can
It's like this is his
best
moment.
He's having the day of his life.
Yes.
He gets overtime
Okay.
pay, you know.
That's fine, Your Honor.
Doesn't have to work.
Did her condition remain critical at the time
It's
of
like
drop
he's
off
auditioning
at
for
Cedar-Sinai?
something.
Yes.
Did you remain at Cedar-Sinai?
Maybe he is.
We had to linger.
Linger?
I mean, for me personally, I like to look in on trauma patients to see what they do, and also
Yeah,
what?
I was too busy
Did you just hear what he
attending
said?
the patient, so I had to do all my paperwork.
At
What?
Cedar-Sinai.
Yes.
Did you remain at Cedar-Sinai?
We had to linger. For me personally, I like to look in on trauma patients to see what they do, and also I have a report to fill out. I was too busy attending the patient, so I had to do.
Who
Why?
the hell likes to look in on trauma patients?
Why? What's the fascination?
Oh, I like to see if they're going to die or not. You know. Holy crap, you are creepy, dude. I really love the ICU, you know. You know, I like to poke the patients. What are you going to do?
See if that's squishy.
My favorite's palliative care.
Yeah. Oh God.
Do all my paperwork afterwards.
But her condition did not change whatsoever.
It made me
On the
sad.
time we found her to when we dropped her off, no.
Thank you, nothing.
This is so creepy.
All right.
Hi. It's going to be so short, I'm not going to even walk over there.
Okay.
So when you were caring for this critical patient, were you the one who
Smiling?
actually put the seat collar on?
I don't believe so, no. I think that would have been on before we got there.
Okay. And did you remove any personal items from this individual's body? Amie Harwick was her name. Did you?
So we would have cut her clothes off. That would have been, if we're considering those
calls them
personal items,
trophies.
we're not going to take jewelry or anything unless it gets in the way of our treatments, but we would have removed
This
her
is
clothes.
day 4, Christine,
Okay.
or the
And
afternoon.
yeah, would necklaces be considered something that would want to be removed prior to administering a seat collar?
Probably, yes. If it gets in the way, but you can also fit a C collar over the necklace.
What about a dog collar?
And patient also had palpable pulses the entire time she was in your care.
I believe so, yes.
And if she had lost pulses, would you have administered CPR?
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Anything?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. You may step down.
That is an
Appreciate it.
incredibly long.
You may call your next witness.
The people call Miss Natasha Paulson.
All right.
What was the name of the Toys R Us giraffe? Jeffrey?
Oh yeah. Lefty, why are you talking about the Suez Canal?
I know, Nick.
I'm so lost.
Oh, damn.
I know, right, Nick? I wasn't done making fun of him either. Oh my God, look at her hair.
Oh.
Holy moly.
I am in love.
Okay, just wait. Don't say you're in love with anyone in this
yeah.
trial.
I forgot the rules.
Yeah, no, right, yeah,
Please
wait.
don't be a porn star.
Please don't be a man.
Is that waifu crime?
NATASHAPAULSON.
Okay, we're allowed to say that the hair's nice.
Do you know somebody by the name of Gareth Pursehouse?
By name, yes.
And what do you mean by name?
I mean that we haven't met in person, but we've conversed through text messages and we've spoken on the phone.
Ooh,
And
Tinder.
if you could do me a favor, could you move just a little closer to the mic so that we can hear
How's
you
that?
better?
Okay.
Thank you. So could you repeat your answer so that we can hear you?
Oh, sorry. We've communicated through actually a dating app Hinge through text messages, and we had one conversation on the phone.
So you say you're using Hinge.
Let's talk
Okay.
about the
I'll
dating
remember
app
that.
Hinge.
Can I get your
Okay.
phone number?
Describe how it is that you met
Wait.
somebody by the name of Gareth Pursehouse on this app.
So the way that Hinge works is either party can contact whoever they're seeking.
Great. Gareth is
It's
pulling
not
down
like
this
Bumble
chick
to
and
where
I'm
only the
single.
woman can reach out first.
I was
With
thinking the
Hinge,
same thing,
you have the
Nicholas.
ability to leave comments on photos or any of the
Aw.
texts that the other person has placed in their profile. And that's sort of the way to open up the
You
conversation.
messaged her
And then
and
if
left a
you're
comment saying, I
interested, you
like
can
your eyes.
respond
Can I have
back.
them?
That's how we got started. I believe he reached out first.
Now, on this Hinge dating app, are you able to see photographs of the person that is you're speaking to?
Yes.
And did you see any photographs associated with the Hinge profile belonging to someone by the name of Gareth Pursehouse?
Yes, I did.
Here at this time, that people are holding what appears to be a profile picture of the name Gareth, be that be marked as people's 56. Do you recognize this photograph depicted in people's 56?
Yes, I do.
And how do you recognize that?
This was his Facebook
That's fascinating,
profile
Lefty.
picture and
Facts.
his Hinge profile picture.
And do you see the person that's depicted in this photograph in court today?
Yes, I do.
Could you please identify that person by tell us where that person is
That
seated
doesn't look like him at
and
all.
what that person is wearing?
He is the second person from the right in the front row here, wearing a navy blazer and
Boy, he's
looks
really
like a
let
white
himself
polo
go.
with dark
Big
hair
time.
and glasses.
Now, I know you said that you met on Hinge. Did you initially start communicating through the application itself?
Yes, initially.
And
I
did that
wish.
Probably.
communication turn into other forms
Oh.
of communication?
Yes, it did.
What forms of communication?
We exchanged phone numbers and started texting, and we had
You
one
want to get her
phone call.
name?
Now, I'm going to show you said that you communicated on the actual app
See if
itself.
I can find
Yes.
her. Maybe get an
Sorry, at
interview.
This time I'm holding
Let's
another
let's just get Shizzy to check her out first.
saying here on the top
Oh,
of
yeah.
what it is
Settle down.
messages.
Settle down, everyone.
Yeah. She does have red hair.
Showing what's been marked as people's 57. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And how do you recognize that?
That is a photograph of myself on the Hinge app, and that is Gareth's response to me below.
Words
Melissa
like Morticia Adams
Jane,
with a
where
hat
are
face,
you?
Albie Gomez.
If
Yes.
Grandma hijacked my Hinge, she'd add this.
When did you start communicating
Hey.
on Hinge?
Oh, I believe we matched on Tuesday the 11th, and I believe, well, I know for a fact that we started texting and we had our phone call on Tuesday the 11th of 2020.
So would you say you started communicating throughout other means aside from the application immediately after meeting on Hinge?
Yes,
And that was through text messages?
text messaging and then one phone call.
Do you have to exchange phone numbers in order to do that?
You do. It's
Hey,
for
Randy.
Hinge, I'm not sure if there's a call function through it, but we did not use that. We used our cell phones.
So you actually had to actively exchange phone numbers to do that?
Correct.
That was a mistake.
At this time, Your Honor, I'm holding another photograph of a series of text messages that have been marked as People's 58.
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been marked as People's 50. Do you recognize that?
Hi, Natasha, smiley face. Gareth? Hey, your area code is familiar. San Diego. Ah, gotcha.
And how do you recognize that?
This was our first text exchange, and after
Lord,
the
dude.
gotcha,
Oh, is that her
I
number?
believe is when we had our first phone.
Wait, is that her number?
Really? Is it?
Or is
I'm
that
showing the
Gareth's?
number.
Hi, Natasha. No, that's Gareth's number. Damn it.
Oh, damn.
Probably doesn't have his phone number anymore.
And after the gotcha,
So close.
I believe is when we had our first phone call.
That
I'm
was quick.
showing you these text messages here on the left that appear to be lighter in color. Are those text messages that you received from the defendant?
Yes, they are.
And as to the ones on the right side with a darker background, are those text messages that you sent?
Yes, they are.
And you said these are text messages that you exchanged on Tuesday, February 11th?
Agree, C-Swift. It's a stupid
Now, at the
name.
top here, there's a phone number. Is that the phone number that was given to you by the defendant to communicate?
Yes, it is.
Now, was this phone number always labeled in your phone as such?
No, at one point I did change it to his name, but when I took these text messages to send in, I changed it back to the phone number.
Oh, good to know.
Now, you said at some point you also exchanged a phone call on the same day that you initially exchanged text messages.
Correct.
Is that correct? And that was around after the time the text message you sent said, gotcha.
Correct.
Now, I also want to talk to you about further communication you had with the defendant. Did that continue past February 11th?
Yes, it did.
And that was also through text message?
Yes, it
He was
was.
trying to get over.
I want to talk to you about
Yeah.
Valentine's Day of 2020, February 14th.
Okay.
Did you exchange text messages with the defendant on that day?
Yes, we did.
You know, at this time, the people are holding 2 pages of a series of text messages. May that be marked as people's?
59.
Yes.
All right.
Mhm.
I'm showing you what's been marked as
Later,
people's
Jamie.
59.
Have fun.
Do you recognize
Lovely
this?
Lashes Day,
Yes, I do.
Jamie.
And how do you recognize this?
This was the part of the text message exchange that we had on Valentine's
Well,
Day.
here we go.
Showing you
Oh,
the
God.
first text message exchange here. Happy
Happy
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's.
Was that received by you
Yes, it was.
from the defendant?
Correct.
Dude,
And at
No
what
little,
time?
that is creepy.
It was at
But-
12:02
well,
p.m.
at least there's no little
Now there-
winky faces.
I guess, but if you haven't even met the girl, like mentioning Valentine's seems a little.
No, I disagree. They're on a
Really?
dating app. It's normal.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
a text message here in blue. Hello there. Apologies. It's been nonstop trying to get today's collection up in the shop so it can be purchased. How are you? Is that a text message sent by you to the defendant?
Correct.
And that was at what time?
5:55 p.m.
There's another text message. Oh, that's totally fine. Busy woman. I'm good, just also trying to get everything under the sun done. Happy face. Is this a text message you received from the defendant?
Yes, it is.
Busy woman.
And where it says, I just
You're a
finished
busy
recording,"
woman.
Is that a text
Woman,
message
please.
to the defendant?
Yes, it is.
Turning to the second page, do you recognize these text messages?
Yes.
Yes,
That's
I
what I
do.
mean,
Are
C
these a
sweat. If
continuation
it's just a
of the
smiley face,
messages
then
that we were just reading?
cool. A fireplace
Yes, they are.
or
There's
Like
a text
peach.
message that reads yippee. Is that from the defendant
Eggplant.
to you?
Yes, it is.
Now there's another message here. Watching dudes pick out last minute flowers at the market is amusing. If you catch their eye, they give you a help look and some sort of laughing emoji. Is that a text message you sent to the defendant?
Yes, it is.
And at what time was that?
10:48 p.m.
Now, did you get a response from the defendant?
Not immediately, but yes, I did.
And when did you receive that response?
February 15 at 1:57 a.m.
And that response is, ha ha, that's funny.
Correct.
Is that
She
the
was
last
under Amy's
communication
bed.
that you received from the defendant?
That I received, yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing further.
Good afternoon, Ms. Paulson.
What was the point of that?
Joey's a decent, normal guy. Maybe I don't know.
You reached out to the detectives on the 17th of February of 2020, right?
Correct.
And so your communication with them was initiated by you.
Yes, it was.
You suffered a head injury, right?
That is correct.
And you lost a lot of your memories from 2020.
She's
Yes,
hot.
I did.
So you're saying
Sorry that
the
happened
memory's
to you.
affected?
When did your memory loss? Was it actually amnesia? Is that how it was?
Correct. Retrograde amnesia.
When did that?
Like
Like
she
to
actually
what
did go
point
on a
did
date
that
with the
affect
defendant
your
and wants to
memory?
forget.
So the span of my amnesia begins near mid to late March of 2020.
Oh, I wish I could forget that time. Lucky
Um,
girl.
Yeah, that was a weird
After
time,
reaching
wasn't
out
it?
to the detectives on the 17th of February 2020, you had a phone call with a detective Masterson on April 25th, 2020.
That is incorrect. I spoke with Detective Luis Carranza.
Can
It
we
was
talk
with
about
Detective
why she had
Carranza,
amnesia?
okay. And it was on the 25th of April.
Was it the vaccine?
2020, right?
The vaccine.
I actually do not remember the day that he and I spoke, but I do remember that we spoke.
Okay.
Well, boy, her testimony is really valuable here.
I think it's just because she's hot. I think she's there because she's hot. Legit.
Well, I mean, I'm not criticizing that. I'm all for that. But I mean,
That
hang on. Okay, can we like align times here? Like, why? What's the timing? Oh, hello, Babu. What's the timing of her talking to him?
they never, or maybe they said.
They did say.
No, I don't think they said just the time of day.
No. Her meeting him on Hinge.
Yeah.
Did we miss that, guys? At chat. When was it?
1:53.
Do we know?
No, it just says Friday. Yeah, they never said.
Online Red, you remember nothing. Come on, we rely on you, Online Red.
I know, Pixie.
2020. Well, 2020 was when it happened, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it was early 2020. Okay, so maybe the prosecution's trying to prove that he was meeting other
Moved on?
chicks.
Yeah.
right?
Okay, maybe that's all it was.
I actually do not
February
remember the day that
11th.
he and I spoke, but I do remember that we spoke.
Okay. That conversation
Okay.
was not recorded.
Not to my knowledge.
You had a meeting on the 29th of August of this year with Miss Mariano and with Detective Carranza.
That is correct.
And then that was in person, right?
Correct.
And that was also not recorded.
Not to my knowledge.
Shelly, I can only see the top chat in StreamYard.
The
I have to look over there to
timestamp
see live chat.
that
So it's kind of
were-
hard.
your testimony on direct about what time the messages were sent and received, you're relying on what the phone says, right?
I'm sorry, could you clarify your question?
Like earlier with your direct testimony with Miss Mariano, you
I
were
see.
asked, what time a message was sent, what time a message was received. Your understanding of when a message was sent or received is based on what the timestamp is on your phone.
Yes, correct.
It wasn't like,
Now,
you were sitting there, saw the message, looked at your watch.
No.
Okay, thank you.
now, next question: does the carpet match the drapes, ma'am?
Just a couple of the drapes. Let me think. Yeah.
I mean, unless she just got her hair done, it looks pretty natural, no roots.
I'm just hoping that the goods match
Yeah.
the drapes.
After these events, is that correct?
Over a month after.
No, I love you too,
The
C.
actual amnesia itself does not start until over a month after.
And when did that accident occur?
When did the accident occur?
Yes.
It was January 27th, 2021.
So after you had met the defendant on Hinge, is that correct?
Correct.
After you had had a conversation with Detective Carranza regarding your interaction with the defendant on April 23rd, 2020.
Correct.
And so your memory loss that you've suffered dates from March 2020, after this incident, to what time frame?
I would say approximately maybe February-ish. The thing with amnesia and when it tapers off, it's not, the way that it's measured is not so concrete as the onset, and the severity is measured by how much you've
Hang on, is
lost.
she an expert?
So I can
Well,
pinpoint
probably.
at least one of my last solid memories, which would be at least March 15th, 16th, 17th of 2020.
Wow.
And then it continues through to about February or March of 2021.
Are you kidding me?
What?
This girl lost all of COVID? I'm sorry, but glass half full here. That's pretty lucky.
Okay.
I
Hang
mean,
on,
trust me, that was a shit year.
how did she get, how did, I don't get it. Hang on. Why
Well,
she
she was in an
is she even,
accident.
she was in an accident, right? Okay.
So brain injury, I guess, but that's weird how it affects like your mostly short-term memory.
Complete amnesia, can't remember a thing. Is that what she's saying?
Yeah, I guess.
So maybe she's the killer.
That could be. You never know.
Maybe she was there. Maybe she's responsible for all of the murders in that area.
They should accuse her.
They should. It was you.
So after all this events.
Yes, correct.
Thank you, Anthony.
Hey,
No.
all right, you may step down. Thank
It
you.
was you.
Yeah.
John?
Next witness,
Yes.
Is it as hot as this one?
people call Guy Holland to the stand.
Guess not. I don't, Lefty.
I get selective amnesia. You know, when I've been on Hinge.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Holland, if you could raise your right hand.
You solemnly state that the testimony you're about to give and the cause now pending before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
See ya.
Thank you. Is that a state? Please state and spell both your first and last name.
Wasn't it C?
First name is Guy, spelled
It's
G-U-Y.
fascinating.
Last name is Holloman,
Oh, he's a hollow man.
H-O-L-L-M-A-N.
Holla,
I
man.
wonder if he believes in Hollow Earth.
Mr. Holloman, can you please tell the jury
Are you a
what it
holla
is that
back
you do for a
girl?
living?
Oh, hold
Sure.
that girl, yeah.
I'm employed by the City of Los Angeles, Los Angeles Police Department.
Welcome
Forensic
to the
Science
future,
Division,
Josie.
as a supervising criminalist.
And can you briefly describe your education, training, and experience to be the supervisor of that particular unit?
Sure. I hold a bachelor's degree in molecular and cell biology from UC Berkeley. And I've had the required training for all of the assigned units that I've served in over the years, DNA, field investigation, as well as narcotics analysis.
How many years have you been a criminalist?
I've been with the department almost 23 years. First years as a lab tech, so almost 22 years.
And how many years as a supervisor?
This October will be 6 years.
Do you supervise, back in 2020, did you supervise criminalist Philip Nahn?
Yeah, I did.
And was he part of your unit?
Yes, sir.
And drawing your attention to the date of February 26, 2020, back then the detectives from West Bureau Homicide, specifically Detective Scott Masterson, contact you about a syringe with liquid that they wanted your unit to analyze?
He did.
And was that a syringe that's here, shown on People's Exhibit number
This syringe.
55, photograph D?
That is correct.
And was Philip Nunn assigned to analyze the liquid within that
Yes.
syringe?
He was.
And did you receive the results of the
Is there a
analysis?
ruler's
I did.
photo?
And how about his graphs and his library searches to try to determine what was inside that liquid?
Yes. I
Did you
reviewed
review all those
as well.
documents?
Yes.
And did you find out that it tested negative for any controlled substances?
Correct.
But there appear to be other possible chemicals there.
That's correct.
Well, I have a question without getting
Hey,
specific
Sean.
about what other substances. Go ahead. The answer stands.
Defense exhibit, double N, page 7. You reviewed these documents also as part of Mr. Nann's analysis.
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay, and looking here at page 7, one of the possible chemicals could have been nicotine.
That is correct.
It could have also been
Good point, reindeer.
Pyridine.
pyridine, correct?
That is correct.
And did you, after you received the results that there were no controlled substances in the liquid of that syringe, what did you tell the detectives, if anything?
Well, I told the detectives that the laboratory had the capabilities of detecting controlled substances, and that for anything else contained in that evidentiary item, that he could request at another lab test for any non-controlled substances that might be in that syringe.
Like a nicotine.
Correct.
And why couldn't your lab test for nicotine?
Well, our lab is set up to detect controlled substances, and nicotine is not a controlled substance. We don't have what's called the nicotine reference standard to compare the unknown sample to. So that's why we could not confirm the presence of nicotine in that particular sample.
Nor could you confirm the other chemicals that were shown in the syringe.
That is correct.
And so did you recommend that the detectives take the liquid from that syringe and have it tested by another lab?
Yes.
And which lab did you recommend?
I mentioned the Federal Bureau of Investigation, that their laboratory might have the capabilities of confirming nicotine or non-controlled substances within the syringe.
Why did you recommend the FBI?
I knew that they possibly would test for a larger battery of chemicals that our lab was not capable of confirming.
I have nothing further on.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Collins.
Good afternoon, sir.
There we go.
Let me just sit up here.
So your lab can, as in this case, can be asked to test to try to see what is in an unknown substance.
That's correct.
I'm going to remove this. And there are specific policies and procedures that are in place for that exact situation.
Absolutely.
And that's what happened in this case, right?
Check some Vegas to what happened in this case.
A test was done for an unknown substance.
Correct.
Gas chromatography mass spectrometry, GCMS, it's an extremely reliable method for identifying compounds.
Yes.
it's something it's a really well established analytical tool for criminalists.
That is correct.
It's something that all criminalists in your lab are expected to be able to perform.
No, not necessarily. If there's training required to be able to operate the instrument properly, to maintain it properly, and to analyze the data that comes from that. So there's a training component there. Obviously, once you're trained and found competent in the use of the instrument, then you're at that point expected to be able to use it during analysis.
And GCMS has been in use in your labs in your entire professional career.
Yeah, as far as I can remember, yes.
So
Yeah,
I'd like to
looks
talk
interesting.
about
Not the witness, the defendant
procedure
suddenly looks up.
it
and is
appears that you
interested.
actually approved it yourself. This is TM-NAU-400 GC/MS. Are you familiar with that?
I am.
And specifically on page 4, there is a sample preparation guideline for unknown substances
Page 4 of what?
of this procedure. This is not an exhibit, Your Honor.
Okay.
Or this procedure that you approved. One of the ways that you begin testing an unknown
Vegas to
substance.
this procedure, Vegas the time, the procedure you approved when?
Well, I take it, do you know what he's talking about?
I'm not sure yet. I'm
Okay,
sort of.
sustain, go ahead.
So, okay, you're familiar with this procedure that I read the name of it earlier. TM space NAU-400.
I'm familiar with it, yes.
Oh yeah, I know that one so well. Yeah.
And this procedure is a procedure that is in place to make sure that testing is done correctly in the lab. Right?
Absolutely.
And it was in place in March of 2020.
Correct.
There is a specific section in this procedure that relates to how to or what requirements are in place to indicate.
Right.
Okay. And what that means, indicate, is that the GCMS test would indicate the presence of a substance, right?
Correct.
So under this procedure, what happens is the sample must be compared to a spectrum of the reference material of a GCMS library or published spectrum, right?
That's correct.
And just to kind of make it less technical, what we're talking about is when a sample is tested by the GCMS instrument, it produces, the instrument produces the results of the test, right?
Correct.
And then what this is talking about is taking those results of the test and then comparing them against libraries of chemical compounds.
Yes.
Okay. And so your lab one of the requirements is that the overall appearance of the sample spectrum must be substantially similar to the reference material spectrum, right?
Correct.
And there must be no substantial unexplained extraneous ions.
That is also correct.
So in the technical notes that the criminalist is writing as a part of the GCMS analysis, these notes are required to have, number one, the name of the library being used for comparison, right?
Correct.
And it says multiple libraries can be used. The criminalist can search through multiple libraries.
Correct.
Number two, the technical notes need to include.
Let me interrupt you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take a 15-minute break, if you will, please.
Okay. That proved nothing. I think.
Okay.
Did they actually get anywhere then? Or did I just miss it?
Mr. Panzel, you were inquiring.
Before we took our break, Mr. Holloman, I was asking you about the requirements to indicate. Do you recall that?
Okay, that finished.
I do. And
So-
just so we're clear, we're not talking about confirming, but indicating. Yes?
Correct.
Got it.
Indicating. So the first requirement that we were talking about was
Fair.
for the criminalist to include in his or her technical notes the name of the library being used.
Yes.
Okay. And the next requirement is the percentage match assigned by the library.
Yes.
And it says that that number should be at or above 80.
That's correct.
The last requirements for the technical notes is the spectral data provided by the library. That should be included in the notes.
Yes,
And you reviewed criminalist Non's notes in this case,
I have.
and he followed the procedure.
He did.
Now, if a criminalist in your lab follows the procedures that are in place in your lab, and a sample mass spectrum, and there's an indication based on the sample mass spectrum that there is a chemical present, there is a very high likelihood that that GCMS indication is accurate.
Objection foundation.
I don't know. Is this something you can answer, sir?
It is. And the answer to that is not necessarily.
Now,
Well,
indication is different than identification.
That is correct.
There's a separate procedure for and requirements for identification.
Yes.
And with identification, your lab has reference, I want to make sure I get the right word, reference materials that are in-house, that are present in the lab.
That's correct.
I'm going to check as relevance 352 and beyond the scope.
Sustain. Let's move on.
I just want to make sure that it's clear what the difference is between identification and indication.
Well, okay, make that clear and then move on if you would.
So,
Well, let him explain it. Ask him what's the difference. If, yeah, be easier to let him explain.
this will not take more than a couple minutes, Your Honor.
Okay, and then leave that area if you would. Go ahead.
So for identification, you have a reference sample that is present in the lab.
Correct.
And there's a lot of requirements for how you obtain that reference sample, how you maintain it, test it, a bunch of stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so when you have when you have a GCMS result and you want to test it against that reference sample, you can do that in your lab.
You can.
You run the reference sample through the machine.
Vegas to which reference? sample?
Okay, again, you said all you wanted to clarify was, what was it, the indication versus what was it?
Versus identification. That's what I'm doing.
Well, no, I mean, let's just get to it. Let's not go through all these steps. Tell them what the difference is. I'll ask
That's
the
a lay
question. What's
foundation.
the difference, sir? Can you explain the two differences? I don't want you to get into each step. What's the difference, sir, if you can?
Yes, sir. Gentleman was on the right track. So
Okay.
an identification.
Oh,
or
don't piss off the
confirmation
judge,
involves
dude.
the use of
Don't
a
piss off
reference
the
sample
judge.
or a known, and you compare it to the unknown sample. If they match, then you can identify the unknown. In the case of an indication, there's no reference sample run. It's just compared to the library of chemicals that's already in the database. That's not enough to constitute an identification. So to identify a chemical or a substance, the criminalist has to run a reference sample and compare it to the spectra or data. obtained
He's
from
always
the
in a
unknown.
bad mood.
Is that why your lab could not identify, could not conclude the nicotine portion of it?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, great, thank you.
And
He just found
your
out about
lab's
D-Day.
inability to run that to complete an identification doesn't take away from the reliability of the GCMS test.
Objection. Argumentative.
No, I'll the answer. Stan, what was your answer, sir?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Generally,
Right.
most judges are in a
Just
bad
very
mood most
briefly,
of the
I'd like
time.
to talk about.
Yeah.
There are a
I'd like to
couple
talk
that
about
are
the
just
lab where this
like
test occurred.
overtly happy.
Your
Yeah.
lab is
Like the
title
Holderson
name
judge,
is
he
approved
was the
for
happiest
forensic
judge
science,
ever.
right?
Yeah, he was
I
really
loved
good.
him. He was so amusing.
Yeah.
Like, remember when when he would receive exhibits, he would go, "It is received." Because
So happy to be there for a murder trial.
Yeah, it was like, and he had this. It was every single time he'd say it the same way. It is received.
I'll have to go back and watch.
I do. I'm
That's
actually
the name of
planning
the-
on doing a bit of a rewatch on some Holder,
Okay.
like just the
Yeah.
highlights, like some highlighty bits of
Yeah.
Holderson for fun. You and me, we'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it'll be awesome.
Facility that we operate out of, yes.
Okay.
Or the main facility. We have a satellite facility called the Piper Technical
right.
Facility. Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you. The facility, the Hertzberg Davis Forensic Science Center, that's at Cal State LA, right?
Correct.
And the criminalist laboratory is comprised of 7 specialized units.
All right, let's see. Councilman.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Back on the record in this matter, Mr. Panzel, you were inquiring.
Before we took our break, Mr. Holloman, I was asking you about the requirements to indicate. Do you
Yes.
recall that?
I do. And
So-
just so we're clear, we're not talking about confirming, but indicating. Yes.
Correct.
Got it.
Indicating. So the first requirement that we were talking about was for the criminalist to include in his or her technical notes the name of the library being used.
Yes.
Okay. And the next requirement is the percentage match assigned by the library.
Yes.
And it says that number should be at or above 80.
That's correct.
The last requirements for the technical notes is the spectral data provided by the library. That should be included in the notes.
Yes,
And you reviewed criminalist Non's notes in this case,
I have.
and he followed the procedure.
He did.
Now, if a criminalist in your lab follows the procedures that are in place in your lab, and a sample mass spectrum, and there's an indication based on the sample mass spectrum that there is a chemical present, there is a very high likelihood that GCMS indication is accurate.
Injection foundation.
I don't know, is this something you can answer, sir?
It is. And the answer to that is not necessarily.
Okay.
Now, indication is different than identification.
Judge is going to
That's
start
correct.
asking this witness all kinds of
There's a
questions
separate
about different
procedure
chemicals
for,
and which ones are most hazardous to a
requirements
person.
for identification.
Yes.
And with identification, your lab has reference. I want to make sure I get the right word. Reference materials that are.
Sir, do you know
in-house
anything about
that are
mustard
present
gas?
in the lab.
That's correct.
I'm gonna check relevance 3
Golly.
beyond the scope.
Oh, sustained.
Too soon?
Let's move on.
I just want to make sure that it's clear what the difference is.
It's always too soon.
identification and indication.
Well, okay, make that clear and then move on if you would.
So,
Well, let him explain it.
I got a water plan here.
Yeah, we usually let
this will not take more than a couple minutes, Ron.
Okay, and then leave that area if you would. Go ahead.
So, for
I apologize for you.
identification, you have a
Just
reference
because this is so
sample that
boring,
is,
I wanted
present
to
in the lab.
just talk for a minute
And
about
there's-
how
there are
cool
a
this
lot of,
courtroom is.
Requirements
It
for
is.
how you obtain that reference sample.
It's
how you
beautiful.
test it, all a bunch of stuff, right?
Yeah, they
And so
asked the judge how he
when you
wanted
have
it designed, and he just looks around.
when you have a GCMS result,
World
you wanna
War
test
II
against
Germany.
that reference sample, you can do that in your lab.
Hey, Paige, how
Um,
come we've already heard this part? When did we hear
you-
this part?
Run the reference sample through the machine.
I think it
Vegas
just
to which
feels like
reference
we have.
Okay, again, you said all you wanted to clarify was.
We haven't played this
What was
part.
it, the indication?
No, we
versus
did.
What was it?
Versus identification. That's what I'm doing.
Well, no, I mean, let's just get to it. Let's not go through all these steps.
That must have
Tell
been
me the
long
difference
crime
is.
squared
I'll ask
out.
the question. What's the difference there?
Yeah,
Can you
you're
explain
right.
the two differences?
Thank you, Paige.
Gentleman was on the right track. So
Okay.
an identification or a will conduct assessments of different laboratories to make sure that they are meeting certain technical and calibration guidelines, that they're meeting certain
Good
standards.
catch, Paige.
And meeting those
Thank you.
standards is one way for the lab to convey to criminal courts like this that testing procedures follow high standards.
Vegas to which lab? Are we talking about
Man,
Talking
I still
about
heard
your
this.
lab.
Right. It has the ISO.
And is not valid. That percentage, because we're not confirming, it's really just a guideline, a line that we drew in the sand as we had to apply some rules to the quality of the spectra produced. But we still couldn't identify it either way. And
Are they
the
still
lab
talking about
only
this nicotine thing?
in
I
special
think so, yeah.
circumstances. In this
Isn't it
particular
irrelevant?
many
Pretty
different
much.
substances that were indicated, it wouldn't have been scientifically useful to do an indication in this
Hey,
case.
Jody.
Why it wasn't done.
Hey.
However, the quality, the percentage match was there for the library. The percent match assigned by the library was there.
Objection asked and answered.
Doesn't the nicotine thing only just place him there?
Yeah.
Like it has nothing to do with the actual
Well, they
death.
basically already
People call
conceded that.
Sarah
They've
De,
conceded that he's
Sarah
there.
Buxton de Quintana.
Yeah.
They're just trying to argue for manslaughter.
Buxton,
But
B-U-X-T-O-N.
that doesn't help him with
and
manslaughter,
D-E, Quintana, Q-U-I-N-T-A-N-E.
does it?
And
Well, I mean, their theory is that he scared her and she jumped over the balcony trying to get away from him.
Yeah,
He didn't go there to unalive her.
sure. But that piece of evidence doesn't have
Well,
anything
that would
to
help
do
the
with
state
it.
prove that he went there to unalive her.
Oh,
with
to kill her. Right. So they're
Tobacco?
saying that he was going to do that.
I guess.
It was
I
gonna-
really don't know what the point of the tobacco is.
Nicotine.
Yeah,
It
whatever.
is.
Well, I mean, like, why would he, if he brought it, why would he bring it?
S-A-R-A-H, Buxton de Quintana,
It's
B-U-X-T-O-N-D-E.
a fun drug. I think people use it for like a
Mr. Quintana,
high.
can you please tell the jury what it is that you do for a living?
I'm a supervising criminalist at the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office.
Okay, we're going to be finished with her in
Can you
7
briefly
minutes.
describe your education, training, and experience to perform the
Oh,
duties of
like
that position?
DALI.
Yes, I have a Bachelor's of Science in Biochemistry. I have a Master's of Science in Forensic DNA and Serology. And I have worked at that office since 2004 in the laboratory and then later as supervising others.
How many years have you worked as a supervisor?
Worked as a supervisor since 2018.
And on March 6, 2020, were you a supervisor for that division?
Yes, I was.
And was an analysis conducted on a blood sample for an Amie Harwick under coroner case number 2020-01406?
Yes, there was toxicology testing performed.
And who requested this toxicology analysis?
The toxicology was requested by our deputy medical examiner, Dr. Luzzi.
So the deputy medical examiner would be the one to request what type of toxicological analysis will be conducted.
That's correct.
And what was requested by the deputy medical examiner in this case?
He requested a screen that we refer to as an H screen, and the H stands for homicide.
So the homicide screen, what does that
I
entail?
thought it was going to be hummus.
It includes ethanol or alcohol, as well as common controlled substances, drugs of abuse, cannabinoids, marijuana, cocaine, methamphetamine, opiates, PCP, and fentanyl.
So it's alcohol, cocaine and metabolites, fentanyl, marijuana, methamphetamine, opiates like codeine and morphine, opiates like hydrocodone, hydromorphone, and
Hey, rabbit.
Yes, that's correct.
That's fentanyl?
Phencyclidine is PCP.
PCP, I'm sorry.
Mm.
And what were the
That'll
results?
do you in.
What part of, where does the sample obtain to conduct this analysis?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Where's the sample obtained?
Why,
The
Jody? You got a nice
sample
name.
was a sample of chest blood collected by the medical examiner.
And how is it analyzed?
The two separate analyses in this case started off the screening process. One was the ethanol analysis, and the other was the immunoassay screening for the drugs of abuse.
And what was the result of the alcohol screen? Was there any alcohol in the blood of Amie Harwick?
No, there was not. The results were negative.
How about cocaine?
No, there was no cocaine.
How about fentanyl?
No fentanyl.
How about the initial test for marijuana?
The initial test for marijuana was presumptive, but the confirmation testing that was triggered, it did not confirm, and so there was no marijuana.
And how about for methamphetamine?
There was no methamphetamine.
How about opiates like codeine or morphine?
There were no opiates such as codeine or morphine or
How about she just says what there was
How
rather
about-
than go through everything?
And there was no PCP.
Yeah.
And were you requested to test for nicotine?
No, we were not.
Were you requested to test for any poisons?
No.
And the request you indicated would come from the deputy medical examiner based on his examination.
That's correct.
And it was a report generated with these results on March 6, 2020.
Yes, there was.
And did that report become part of the autopsy report?
Yes, it did.
Did you test for COVID?
I have nothing further.
Probably what she died of.
Oh, Amy, she died from COVID, I bet.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
It was 2000, so
It was 2000. It's March 2000.
so she was counted as dying from COVID.
Yeah.
Hospital got to
Depends
get the
on the length
benefits,
of
politicians.
hospitalization
On the
gotta be
concrete.
on this day.
Yep.
What about surgical intervention?
Coughed her guts up.
It could be significant if there was blood transfusions or products.
And why would blood transfusion or products be significant in making a toxicology analysis based on blood drawn after a transfusion or any type of medical intervention?
Objection, relevance and foundation.
No, I'll allow, you can
Trying
answer.
to say the transfusion could
So
have.
first of all, the transfusion could be due to blood loss
Changed your
and
blood
therefore
makeup.
loss of substances that may be present. And then transfusion could dilute and or introduce other substances if there were a significant
See?
percentage of the blood that was remaining in the now decedent.
And
It's
is
also
there
very
a
contagious,
way
that
to
concrete
try to
COVID.
Yeah, it really hit you hard.
Yeah.
By going to the hospital that admitted an individual and asking if the blood
Really
sample
knocked you
was
down.
on the time that the person was receiving
God.
the hospital.
Objection, foundation.
comes up on you fast. Not
Yeah,
much of an
you don't have
incubation
to.
I'm
period.
sorry.
Do you know if there was a procedure by the Los Angeles County Department of Medical
Do you
Examiner?
know why I look
coroner,
like a blueberry?
for requests made to hospitals when a patient actually dies in the hospital for blood drawn prior to surgical
Blueberry.
intervention or transfusion?
You know why I'm cosplaying as
no.
Violet Beauregard? I'm only-
No question.
You may step
I look
down.
Beauregard.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to break at this time. There was 7 witnesses today, so that's good. We'll see you all tomorrow at 9:30. Please don't get sick.
Very long COVID. Yeah. It's been going on for a while now. A long while. And it's pretty bad.
No, that was boring.
Pretty bad. Ah,
Tomorrow, yeah,
dear.
we'll do day 5 tomorrow.
Yeah, okay. So I wonder how much more they need to get through.
I don't know how long it's supposed to go.
See, her symptoms haven't changed. No.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
hasn't gotten
well-
better, unfortunately.
Well, I think she's deteriorated, to be honest.
Yeah. God, 3 years and she still hasn't gotten better. It's a
No,
nasty
no, she's
illness.
she's just gone downhill,
I know.
really. Yeah. Those vaccines never helped.
No.
No.
Should have been vaccinated.
Yeah, should have been, but you know, they couldn't get to her in time. That's terrible. Look at her health.
Oh,
Yeah, she went downhill. Hmm. Yeah. Oh dear. Well, these
yeah.
things happen. That's it. Everything was. Yeah, she went 6 feet down. That's right. Yeah, the spiral started around that time, around March. But lucky
Yeah.
the redhead, she missed out.
Yeah.
she missed out on that that whole period.
Yeah.
So
She never has to remember the toilet paper shortage.
no, the great toilet paper shortage and the great shut-in and all the barcodes
At least it
and
was only for 15 days to slow the spread.
it was only 15 days. Yeah, well, she probably only remembers 15 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She remembers the first 15 days.
She remembers the first 15 days and she's like, what's everyone complaining about? It was only 15 days.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you're a big bunch of whiners, really. Imagine coming out of it after like a year of amnesia and
Yeah.
then be like, well, how come everyone's wearing masks? This is strange.
Yeah, what's going on, guys?
What's going on? What's with all these like stickers on the ground that people have to stand apart? And what's with all these plastic things everywhere? It's a bit odd. Everyone's acting very weird. Okay,
Yeah.
probably nothing.
Yeah.
Probably nothing. Nah.
Good
Riots in the
times.
streets. Oh yeah, it's normal. It's America.
Anyways,
Oh, we had them here too.
yeah.
Uh,
So
very
yeah,
different stuff.
tomorrow we'll do the next day of this, and Mo will do it in the morning. I think it's going to start 12 Eastern. They were doing it 9 Eastern, but I don't know why they changed. But they're doing it 12 Eastern, so it's California local time when it starts.
Yeah. So yeah, we didn't have too much content today, unfortunately. But guys, what time is it over there right now?
For 5:40 Eastern.
5:40 p.m.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's time to grab an early dinner, just like Sal, because you know he's granddad. So grab yourself your early dinner special, and have a little bit of a break, and then come back. And MLS and I are going to be doing Photoshop disasters, which is basically backwards Photoshop. So we're going to be getting all those ladies with the big boobies and butts and things that are
Beans
clearly
that David
the
likes.
what? The ones
Beans
that David
David
likes.
likes.
Oh, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And we're going to be popping them back into place. So squishing and flopping and I actually have some bits that can actually make the smiley faces happen and things like that. So
Really?
yeah, all that cheeks, and it's going to be fun
Interesting.
and have a bit of a chitty chat about all the stuff that is going on in the world of law and crim as well. And you can ask questions. So if you are wanting to learn a little bit about photo editing, you can watch me as I'm going and I have a look at chat, and you can ask any little questions that you want, things like that. So it's just going to be a lot of fun. We'll have a lot of fun for an hour or so, a little bit more. I know it's 7:40 a.m. here, Pixie. 7:40 a.m. for me too. So you can sort of pop off to work and then sort of skype off in the corner and watch me and MLS. And also, it looks like over in Europe, it's lunchtime, so it's a good time for where are babies? Can you ask how babies are born? That's Sal's question. So you can have some lunch, have some dinner, have some brekkie, have a little break, and then come back. Can someone please pop that into chat? I'll do it.
You got it?
Fine. I'll do it myself. I'll go and gift myself. You want to join me today, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Boop, boop, boop. Go. Excellent. All right. Anything else, Albert?
No, I think that's about it.
No, nothing else?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Alrighty. Well, thank you everybody for joining us and for being on our first dual stream back for a little while. And oh, you're not well, Pixie. Oh, that's no good.
Hope you're okay.
Well, even more reason to hang about and have a bit of a rest and just join us on the stream if you're well enough. Cool. Okay, yeah. And we'll be back for this tomorrow.
Yep.
True? Cool. Alrighty. Yay.
right,
Bye, everybody. See you.